I want to thank Juliette for coming to Lewiston and providing us with this wonderful exhibit. I think, and I want to thank all the sponsors and everybody that's helped support us in this and in our other events we have here. And that's all I wanted to say. Absolutely. So thank you very much and enjoy the evening.
So I want to take this opportunity first to thank our supporters, big support without which we would not have been able to host this exhibition of Juliette, or this center really would not have existed without this support. Support of President Tony Fernandez, right there, and the First Lady Diane Fernandez, our provost, Carmen Simone, and our Dean Kathy Martin. And in addition to that, I would also like to recognize and thank our staff, Hope Cooper, Angie Whelan, Jim Hepworth, Noah Sherman, Carly Phillips, and last but not least, thank our model, Rachel and Melissa. They are going to be modeling today. Introduction about Juliette. It's really not possible to speak about her in like 5 or 10 minutes or 2 minutes because her profile is so long, and the credentials are so long and so celebratory. It is such an honor for us to host an exhibition of an artist of this stature at Lewiston here at the Center for Arts and History, Juliette Aristides. Born in Cape Town, South Africa, Juliette moved to U.S. when she was 3. Based in Seattle, she's a founder of and instructor at Classical Atelier Gage Academy of Art in Seattle. In addition to teaching and studio practice, Juliette has authored several books on drawing and painting methods. She has frequently contributed to a variety of artist magazines, with her work being featured in Art Connoisseur, American Art Collector, American Artist, and Gulf Connoisseur, to name a few. She is a recipient of, this is something I want to really highlight, she's a recipient of Elizabeth Greenshield's grant in Canada, if you know what that prestigious grant is. People like Nelson Shanks have won that award. She has been listed as a living master by Art Renewal Center in New York. Juliette consistently exhibits her work in one-person and group exhibitions nationally and internationally, and is represented by the prestigious Scotia Gallery in Santa Fe, as well as John Penn's Gallery in San Francisco. In August, upcoming August, her work is going to be featured in an exhibition at Reading Museum of Art in Pennsylvania. And we are so proud. Before that, we have her here. Really, Juliette, thank you for agreeing to exhibit your works here. And on behalf of Lewis Clark State College and Center for Arts and History, I'd like to thank her for taking time and effort to be here with us today. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Juliette Aristides, a warm welcome for her.
Very kind, really wonderful. I guess we'll start with you. So Vilas had a really great idea that rather than just do a typical artist lecture, we would do a demonstration of portrait painting and portrait drawing. So I'm going to start off doing a drawing and then move to doing a painting as the afternoon and evening progresses. So I'm hoping that this will be conversational in tone and that you can ask any sort of art-related question that you want, and we can get a rapport going. I haven't been out here before. I flew over yesterday from Seattle, and it was an unbelievable view. I imagine most of you have done that trip, as a lot of you have done the trip flying over here. And the mountains are just breathtaking. And there were so many clouds just covering the mountains, just extending up over the clouds. And it was so odd, the minute we got over to Idaho, the clouds just stopped. I mean, like a straight line. It was so uncommon. We look back and there's Washington State, completely covered in here. Just beautiful. Well, while I was flying in, there was a couple behind me talking, and they were talking about high school experiences. And they were an older couple, and they were talking about things that they remembered that they really loved. And I started thinking about some highlights from my high school experience, and I couldn't think of anything. And I'm sitting there, senile yet, but nothing is coming to mind. And so every time I thought about something in those years that seemed noteworthy, it was outside of school. And an image kept coming to mind when I would just take my sketchbook and go into the woods, and I'd do a lot of reading and philosophy. It was a small town in Pennsylvania where I grew up. And so the reading and the writing and the drawing became this source of incredible inspiration to me. And so I felt like so much of my learning happened out in those fields looking around. And at the time I felt a little bit broken, like a little bit of an outsider. Why academically was this so challenging for me? And I could be so excited, but it just was not, in the classrooms. And I had no way of knowing at the time that I was preparing myself for my vocation, which was to be an artist. So on that note, get started. So it's interesting, it seems like there's so much pressure to sort of phase art out, and even things like handwriting and philosophy. Did anyone read the Newsweek article about a year ago when they said about getting rid of cursive from public schools? Was anyone else mildly irritated by that? It was, they were so happy about it. And one thing that struck me, it took me a while to put my finger on why I felt like that was such a disappointment. Because really, we do so much via keyboard these days. Why would it matter if something like handwriting, which is so tedious, got phased out? Well, if you look at the early American drawing books going back to the 19th century, they often started their drawing classes with writing lessons, practicing with the pen and the ink. And they linked it from handwriting to drawing to geometry, all in one book. It was really remarkable. And so who would know that you get rid of handwriting, you might be getting rid of the only drawing education someone might ever have. So you may wonder why I'd start off a painting demonstration with a drawing. Well, drawing is a foundation of painting, and also the foundation for a lot of art, whether it's sculpture or architecture, that sort of thing goes back to drawing. Inherent as drawing is proportion and value being the grayscale, and ideas of volume, making something round, an understanding of light source and direction. But most of all, drawing's important because it helps you see. And has everyone heard about seeing, the training in drawing actually helping you see? Does anybody ever wonder what the heck that means? Or because we all see, right? As soon as we're born, we see. And as parents, some of the first things we do is help kids put language to what there is they're looking at. It's a cup, pencil, a dog. So we become very adept at being able to label things. And so our sense of sight is so often linked to utility. And in art, we strip it back down and we just look and use our eyes for purely aesthetics. So that idea of just being able to get great pleasure, and drawing helps us slow down, lock into something, and become basically a child forever, because we'll never get bored looking. Does that make sense? So you're not going to be able to see too much yet. I start with light lines, and I go quite slowly because it's hard to get it right, and you don't want to get yourself locked in. How many of you are artists? Are there a fair amount? Yeah, and the better the artist, sometimes the more tentatively they approach something, and you think, why with all that training are they creeping so tentatively in there? And often it's because you just don't want, there's trouble ahead. You're not sure when you're going to hit it, but soon. And so the slower you go, it's sort of postponing the inevitable. It keeps that hope alive,